Okay, so starting the video again. Sorry, I had to mess up at the edit a few times, but okay. Okay, so basically what I'm showing you guys here is a budget build on building your own projectors. It's an inexpensive way to do it in case you don't have the money to spend for projectors or anything per se like that, you know what I mean? And you want that black housing effect, or you want that cool effect to wow people, or you just want something different and unique, but it's just on a budget. You don't have too much to spend on a budget. Okay, so basically what I'm showing you is this is the look I'm after. So you see that silica right there? It has basically the housing inside is black, right? And I'm pretty sure some of you guys wondering if you guys have a basic Celica or if you guys have headlights and you're trying to turn the housing inside there black. Basically, I'll show you how to do it today, or I'll show you how to do it right now. How I did it, at least. You may have a different way or a different technique, but I'll show you how I did it, and it'll probably be easy for you to do it too if you do it that way. But maybe you have another way. So basically, what I'm showing you is, like, you see how everything is black there, and now you pretty much have everything set, looking like a projector, you know what I mean? But really, those are not projectors. I can tell. I'm a big car guy, so I know already that that's the stock headlight painted, right? Because the projectors that normally come for this car, they're usually a lot different. They're usually a lot more style different. They're normally not looking like that. That's insider painting. So basically, how you do that is, as you see here, I have the headlights already prepped. As you see, like, you see that one there, and you see this one here. Obviously, my prepping is not the greatest right here, but whatever. Anyway, it's not the point. I'll fix that in a second. The point is, basically, this is how you do it, right? So first and foremost, when you're doing this job, always be on point and be careful of what you're doing, because it's very, very easy for you to break the lens. I almost cracked the lens when I was pulling it out. So when you guys are pulling off this lens, be very, very, very gentle with it. Don't try to pull the lens too much. And when you're pulling it out and you feel that thing not coming out, I'll show you a trick on how to get that to pull off a lot easier without you having to pull it off so hard and then break the lens or something like that. Because I almost snapped a few pieces trying to do it. Luckily, I was being a little bit more gentle and careful with it, but not everyone's gentle and careful like that. So I'm going to show you. Okay, so for starters, you're going to have to remove the bumper from your car, obviously, which I did already, right? But for those of you who don't know how to do it, you basically have a few screws at the top of a Celica bumper. So I'll just show you on the bumper I took off already. So as you see here, you see these screws right here? There's one, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So there's about 5 bolts to the top. There's 2 inside the bumper. There's one here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Well, it's inside my room. It's one here and then one there. And then there's another bolt, like, there's another bolt right here, but this one is just clips into it. It doesn't actually, this one just clips into it. It doesn't actually bolt in or anything like that. So don't worry about that. You just have to make sure that you unloosen the 2 bolts unless somebody put a bolt in there. And for those of you who don't know about this, the Celica comes with a lip stock, right? You see this piece right here? That piece right there, that's a lip. That's not actually the bumper, eh? Because if you look back here, you'll notice that is the screws to take that off, right? You see 1, 2, you see a few of them back there. You'll see it as soon as you do it. But we're not here to talk about the bumper. We're here to talk about the lights and how you want to make projectors. Okay, so basically, first what you have to do is you have bulbs in there, and your bulbs are these things. You have the bulbs for up here, which is one goes in here, and then you have one for down here. You have to make sure you remove all the bulbs. Me, I just literally took the socket out completely, because you see these tabs back here? Here, there's one here, as you guys can see. Like, you just have to press that and it'll open up. And then there's one more right here. There's one there, and then there's 2 here. So 1, 2, 1, 2. That's all you gotta do. So after you release those 2, after you take out these light bulbs, all you got to do basically is there's a couple of screws that you have to loosen. If you guys have a Celica or any other car, you might still have the same thing. See, so if you look right here, that's one bolt right there, that's another bolt right there, and that's another bolt right there. So basically there's 3 bolts actually holding the lens down, not to mention the glue to the headlight, right? So what you got to do before you even put that in the oven or try to bake anything open, make sure you take out the screws, because if you don't take out the screws, the headlight's not going to move even when it's hot, right? So make sure you take out the screws and make sure you put all the stuff. Or me, I'm not really the greatest organizer right here right now, but I'm usually more organized than this. This is how everything would look inside the headlight. This is your projection bulb, right? Your lamp. You know, basically the glass that would sit normally here to resemble a projector, and your rubber housings and your lights and all your stuff right here. Basically what I did was, if you have a Celica, these parts are just corners that screw on. There's just one little screw right there, as you guys can see. All you got to do is put that one little screw in. Once you put that one screw in or take it off or whatever, it screws this whole unit in there like that. Right, so you have the unit like that. But me, I'm not painting this part. I'm only painting inside here because I want this part to just stay the way it is. I don't know, I like it the way it is. So you may not like it. You could do whatever you feel to do, but I like it like that. Okay, so this is basically what you do. So right here, and this is something, make sure you do before you put this into the oven, because if you don't, it's going to be that much more harder that when you take it out of the oven, it's still be hard to take off. So basically, you see these clips right here? That's 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? That's 4 clips you saw right there, right? Okay, those 4 clips, you got to kind of bend them up before you put them in the oven. Excuse me right here, I'm moving around the camera too much and stuff like that. Those 4 clips, you gotta bend those clips up. Once you bend those clips up, they'll actually, it's easy for them to come out when you bake it open, right? So make sure you bend up the clips, but try not to snap the clips in the process. I actually broke one clip trying to get it up with a screwdriver flathead. If you can use your finger, best use. Don't try to use too much sharp objects. It could break the clip, okay? Because once it's hot, it'll move a lot more freely. So just remember that, you know what I mean? So that clip is there, and then that clip is there. There's also another clip right here. Those clips, the 4 clips I just showed you, plus this clip at the bottom, and then these clips right here. So once you take out those screws that I was showing you prior, so one, and then the 2, and then the 3 screw. Once you put this in the oven, this whole unit will come out. So basically, make sure, I'll show you right now how my oven is set up. I'll show you right here. So basically, when you do this, try to do it as fast as possible, because the glue will get hot, and I'm talking quick. You know what I mean? Like, the glue got hot on me. I have to put it back in the oven about 2 times. So when you set your oven, make sure you put your oven on bake, right? It has to be on bake, not broil or anything like that if you have an oven set up like that. So put your oven on bake. Make sure you set the oven to about 220 or 225. If you want it to heat up faster, 230. I've noticed that putting it at 230 heats up a little bit quicker. You know what I mean? Other guys have their own ways. But you set your oven at 230, let it preheat for a second. Once you let it preheat, basically all you do is just wait until the oven is preheated, and then make sure when you put in there, you put you see your tray for your oven, put it on the lowest level, because you don't know how big your headlight could be. My headlight was a little bit bigger than other people's on YouTube. So just make sure if you have a bigger headlight, you know what I mean, like a truck headlight or something like that, you put your tray for your oven on the lowest available level, and make sure you put aluminum foil in there. Aluminum foil tends to heat up a lot faster, so it creates heat, right? So try to put aluminum foil on there to make sure that you create a little bit more heat, so that way the glue is a lot more looser. But prior to doing that, you can take a wet dish cloth or something like this prior, or an alcohol bottle or microfiber cloth, and just kind of wipe off the lens before you put it in there, because once it gets hot, it's going to bake onto there, right? And you don't want that to happen. So basically, after you've done all of that and you got it out of the oven, as you see, I already did that, right? So I'm leaving the oven on. Okay, so as you did that, basically, all you got to do is, if you're wanting to really piece it down, just basically unscrew your stuff. Once you take the lens off, which I have the lens over here, as you can see, they're already baked off. Once you unscrew the stuff and you have your lens baked off, you can decide at that point however you want to paint it. Like, for example, as I was telling you prior, You could paint it like, you could take this, put this unit in there and paint it, or however you want to do it, whatever floats your boat. You know what I mean? So it's more of an easy way to build and budget projector headlights. I'm not going to create a long video here. It's really simple to do. It's just knowing how to do it and knowing what time to take the headlight out. Whatever you do, do not leave the headlight in there for over 30 minutes, okay? Like, do not do that, because then the headlight could get a little bit too foggy, and you don't want that. You just want the headlight to come off. That's it. You know what I mean? So just make sure when you're doing it, you do it for like maybe 10 to 15 minutes at most. If you do it, like one guy on YouTube is saying, do it at 8 minutes. But if you do it at 8 minutes, sometimes the glue doesn't get a chance to really release itself. So you need to put on maybe like 10 to 15 minutes will be the best bet, because once it comes out there, it'll definitely come off like butter. You won't have too much of a struggle. And if you do have too much of a struggle, you can always put it back into the oven until the bonding adhesive releases itself more. And then bada boom, bada bing. Basically, all you gotta do is get your spray can, shake it all up, clean out your headlight part, and then spray. Then what you do after that is basically, after you put your spray paint, you bolt back all your parts in, you put back on the lens. Once you put back on the lens, you just bake it back on the same way you took it back off. It's not really that hard. Just put back the lens onto there and then heat it back up at the 220 that it was at. And then push the tabs that I was telling you in the beginning of the video to release up, push the tabs back down, and just slowly force the corners in there gently. Don't force it in there. Like, you don't want to break the tabs in case one of the tabs off the lens are sticking up. So just place it back in there gently and then heat it back up. And you'll notice that as it heats back up, once it comes back out and it cools down, it'll be stuck together. Put your screws back in, bada boom, bada bing, you've got projectors. So that's a quick, easy way for you to get, for those who are trying to make projectors, or for those of you who have Celicas and trying to make a projector, a quick way to do it. All right, there you go.